We're all good to go?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you guys for coming. You guys all came in literally at 7 o'clock.
I'm not from here yet, so I went on the wrong off ramp, and there's so much traffic.
Oh, you made it though.
I was hauling ass.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us.
I'm stoked you guys are all here. You guys I saw last week. Thanks for coming for week 2. It means a lot. If it's your first time, we're going over a class, a beginner's design class on building a brand with meaning. Last week we talked about the importance of setting a solid foundation, because without the foundation, nothing else really matters. We talked about the difference between an amateur and a pro. We talked about identifying our why. And this week, we're going to use those elements that we talked about we're going to infuse them into creating synergy. So for week 2 of our branding class, it's called Elements of a Brand, Creating Synergy. We're going to talk about the edge. I try and identify what is my edge, what is our edge. We're going to talk about archetypes. Archetypes are paramount for building a brand. You have to identify what your archetype is. We're going to talk about the laws of attraction, the laws of attraction for business, and we're going to talk about the laws of attraction just for ourselves personally, and why that's important for building a brand. We're going to talk about the digital playing field of a brand, the physical playing field of a brand, and then we're going to talk about the social playing field of a brand and how all 3 of those work together. Let's get started. Every single week, we got to start off with the comic from Calvin and Hobbes. It's a tradition for this class. So last week we talked about Calvin was asking Hobbes to wish for anything that he wanted, and Hobbes was already satisfied. He was just laying in a field happy, and Calvin, he couldn't get it. He didn't understand why. The importance of just being satisfied with what you have, the importance of being happy no matter what your situation was. So this year, since we're creating synergy, we're focusing on our outlook. The comic goes like this. Calvin walks up to Hobbes and he says, "I've decided we should be cooler than we are." And Hobbes goes, "We're not cool?" And Calvin says, "Sure, we're cool, but we're not as cool as we could be." And Calvin says, "Here, we got these dark glasses. Cool people wear dark sunglasses." And Hobbes goes, "It's cool to bump into things." And Calvin goes, "You don't move, you just hang around." So this week, I'll say it again, we're going to go over the law of attraction, your vibe and your tribe, the edge, what is your edge? We're going to go over brand archetypes. We're going to go over the playing field, digital, physical, and social. Let's go over the law of attraction for our business. The law of attraction is a concept that suggests that people can manifest their desires and goals by focusing their thoughts and intentions on positive outcomes. In a business context, the law of attraction is often used as a tool for achieving success, financial prosperity, and personal fulfillment. The idea is that by visualizing and affirming one's desired outcomes, such as increased revenue or successful product launch, they can attract those outcomes into their reality. This can be done through techniques such as creative vision boards, practicing gratitude daily, and using positive affirmations. However, it's important to note that the law of attraction is not a guarantee of success, and it does not mean that one can simply wish their way to success without taking any action. It's still important to set clear goals, develop a solid business plan, and take practical steps to achieve those goals. Now let's talk about the law of attraction for your tribe, the people that you want to surround yourself with. The saying, "Your vibe attracts your tribe," is a way of expressing the idea that the energy you put out into the world or your overall demeanor and attitude will attract people who are like-minded and who resonate with that energy that you put out. In other words, if you have a positive, upbeat attitude, you are likely to attract people who share that positivity and who enjoy being around others who have a similar outlook on life. On the other hand, if you have a negative or cynical attitude, you are more likely to attract people who also have a negative outlook, who thrive on drama. When it comes to building a brand, it's just all about you. It's all about the things you care about. It's about your why. It's about the people that you have in your life. All of this kind of mushes together, and this is what the world feels when they look at your brand from the outside. It may seem kind of simple, but when they all work together, when they all have synergy, it makes your brand have more of a positive impact on the world. It's really important that they all connect with each other. Let's talk about archetypes. An archetype is a universally understood symbol or term or pattern of behavior, a prototype upon which others are copied, patterned, or emulated. Archetypes are often used in myths and storytelling across different cultures. Archetypes are really important for brands because every brand has a message. Every brand has a spirit. Every brand has a personality. And so if you identify an archetype, it will be a lot easier for your audience to connect and resonate with your brand. Let's talk about the different types of archetypes. How should people feel when they first experience your brand? If you're a photographer, DJ, producer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a service-based business, how should people feel when they experience your work? What's the first thing that they should think about when they see your brand? Should they feel inspired? Should they feel safe? Should they feel more creative? Should they feel more powerful? Health and fitness brands help you feel more powerful. Should they feel hopeful? This is what nonprofits and hospitals make you feel like. Should they make you feel innovative? Brands like Apple make people feel more innovative and creative. Or tech savvy. Or should they make you feel understood? There's 12 different types of archetypes, and I want you guys to identify your archetype. It's paramount for moving forward. There's the ruler, there's the creator, there's the innocent, like Dove, for example, would be innocent, Dove soap. There's sage, there's the explorer archetype. Think North Face, REI, Cliff Bars. This is the explorer. Outlaw, think Burning Man, think Harley Davidson. There's the magician. What's up, dude? Welcome. There's the magician, think Disney. And then there's the archetype of the hero, think Nike. You can be the best version of yourself. You can accomplish whatever you want. You're a hero. There's the lover. There's the jester. Brands that have comedic value, brands that are very lighthearted and optimistic. They win people over through being funny. There's the everyman brand. Anyone in the general public, it doesn't matter what you are, this brand is for you, this archetype is for you, it will resonate with whoever. It's very general. And there's the caregiver. Brands that are usually revolve around health, pharmaceutical companies, hospitals, medicines, lotions, stuff like that. Neophoric, our brand, is the magician. Let me share why. The magician archetype is associated with power, transformation, and the ability to create change. Magicians are often seen as possessing secret knowledge or skills that allow them to manipulate reality and create something new. They are often depicted as having a deep understanding of the laws of nature and the ability to use that knowledge to achieve their goals. The magician archetype is often associated with creativity, innovation, and mastery of skills. Magicians are typically seen as being able to turn their ideas into reality and as having a deep connection to their intuition and inner wisdom. They are also associated with the ability to see through illusions and deceptions and to uncover hidden truths. A lot of the imagery you see with Neophoric revolves around futuristic science fiction categories. Everything looks like it's not from this time. The attitude that you see presented with Neophoric is from the magician archetype, but also paired with the anti-hero archetype. All of the messaging will sometimes try and be witty, it will try and be empowering, but it'll also carry that tone of, this is magical, and when you look at it at first, it's kind of hard to understand how it's happening or how it's pulled off. This is shown a lot in our photography. This is shown a lot in our imagery that we produce on our clothing, our physical product, and a lot of the messaging that we embed in all of our marketing materials. Let's see, what slide are you on? You want to go over a couple slides? We'll go through the ones on the photos. So I just put a couple slides together showing off some of the photos that we built the brand with. If you want to go back one more? Thanks. And so a lot of the imagery that we have, you can see a type of ethereal presentation. It's almost like the person is able, they're creating a certain type of energy that emanates around them that looks unreal. It looks like it's not from It looks like it's not from our reality or our time. This is because we are presenting the magician archetype in our work. Let's talk about the playing field. The playing field that our brand lives is going to live in 3 different realms. This is it. There's no other places where our brand's going to live. It's going to be in the digital realm, it's going to be in the physical realm, and it's going to be in the social realm. Let's talk about the digital realm. The digital realm is the foundation that we discussed in the first week. The foundation that you should have identified by now. What is your why? Who you are as a person, the things you care about, and why you're here. Why are you building a brand? These should be identified. And then once you discover your archetype, once you understand the archetype that you want your brand to be, and then you understand your edge, once you've discovered what your edge is, I think we skipped that. We skipped the edge, did we? I missed that slide, so let me talk about the edge real quick. What's up, dude? Yeah, I skipped that slide, but we'll talk about it. The importance of having your edge is what separates you. What skill set or experience separates you from the rest of the pack. For me, as a graphic designer, there's a bajillion graphic designers out there. But when I started 10 years ago in graphic design, when I started Damascus as a service-based company, we were creating t-shirts for student organizations on college campuses. And what we did was we emailed all the presidents of student organizations and we said, hey, you guys need t-shirts for your student organizations? Well, we do graphic design, and we do graphic design for free. So what ended up happening is we got a lot of requests to make t-shirts, so I had to do a lot of graphic design. Over the course of time, we spent countless hours doing graphic design around the clock. And what happened is it made me, it put me in a position to be able to, one, do graphic design at an extremely fast rate, and also it gave me experience to turn over graphic design very, very fast and accurately produce what clients wanted. So this is how I eventually refined my edge. My edge is being able to produce graphic design for clothing very, very fast. Now, I think it's paramount that you identify what your edge is. What advantage do you have compared to other people that's going to set you apart? If you're a photographer, if you're a DJ, or music producer, or entrepreneur, what special ability or craft have you refined that's allowed you to, that you can both basically lean on or focus on, that's going to take you to the long distance you need? It's going to accomplish the work that you need done and separate you from everybody else. This is identifying your edge. Once you know your archetype and your edge, and you understood your foundation, then we can talk about the digital playing field. The digital playing field is your foundation, your archetype, and your edge, and it will make up your entire brand's digital playing field. The integral parts of a digital playing field is your website. Your website is one of the most important things of your digital playing field because it's the hub that connects everything together. It literally is your most valuable asset in 2023. It's an employee times 100. It's going to answer all the questions that customers might have. It's going to connect people where they need to go without you having to waste your time. The most important thing with your time is that you can focus on creating your work, not wasting your time on answering questions you already can have done on your website. Email marketing. Email marketing is the best direct line of contact in 2023 to reach your audience. Social media doesn't do anything unless you pay a lot of money. I don't think physical marketing really makes a big difference anymore either. People just throw that away real quick or dismiss it. Everyone's bombarded with ads all the time. The only way to directly contact 100% of your audience right now is through email. That should be a massive focus on your digital playing field. Online advertising is required. This is the number 3 most important thing. It's required to build your audience. The emails don't matter if you don't have anyone to email. So online advertising is how you get in front of new people. You can target whatever you want in 2023. It's really easy to say, hey, I like this brand. Can you show my ads to everybody who likes that brand? And then you can start tapping into other people's audiences. But there's a bajillion other ways to do that too. Content marketing. It's super important that you don't just advertise and sell to people. You have to make sure that the content you design in your digital playing field revolves around informing people, educating people, entertaining them, making them angry, or serving them. These are the only 5 ways that people are going to want to engage, share, or continue to subscribe to your content. You have to make sure that it hits one of those 5 things.
Can you please list those one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. It's to inform, educate, entertain, make angry, or to serve.
Thank you.
And I'm going to have all this afterwards too, to download the whole PDF. And the 5th thing is your e-commerce platform. How are you transacting? How are you making money? Where's the money coming from and what is it going through? Your e-commerce platform usually can be built on your website. Some people have 2 different ones. Right now the entire Neo4 platform is built just on our e-commerce platform. It's crucial that we have this mechanism for charging money or selling your product in a swift, convenient, reliable way. Our digital playing field is pretty much the only way that people can interact with our brand. So it's really important that everything runs properly and is set up the right way. I recommend Shopify. Okay, let's talk about the physical playing field. Your digital field relies on your physical field. If we're not doing anything in our physical field, nothing else matters. The digital field is a byproduct of what we're doing in our physical field. We are required to produce consistently in the physical to propel the digital. What are the integral parts of a physical field? Our physical tools for creation. Our computers, our cameras, our production hardware, our machinery, everything that we have to make our brand exist. The environment in which others experience our brand is crucial. The venues, the studios, the fashion shows that we throw, the retail stores that we have, the festivals that we sell at, how we connect with people, where we connect with them, who we sell to, why we sell to them, in which time, the timing in which we sell to people. This is all the physical world in which our brand rests. The print media and packaging is one of the most important elements, especially for a clothing brand, because it's the first physical impression that people will have with our brand. A lot of people discover Neo4 through our advertising and our Facebook and Instagram ads, and they don't really understand the messaging. They don't understand the quality until they physically get it. So it's crucial that you spend a lot of time refining the quality of I call it the customer experience process. When they receive your product, this is how they're going to remember your brand, and this is the first impression of your brand. It's going to last, or they're just going to throw it in the trash and forget about it. And obviously, the most important thing is the product of your brand. What is the thing? For us, it's clothing. For Neo4, it's clothing. For photographers, your beautiful photos, the moments that you capture of people. For DJs, the experience that you create for people. Your job is to entertain. Music producer, create music. Entrepreneurs, that can go all over the place. But for us, for Neo4, our product, our thing, the most important reason why we're doing this, the core of everything, is our clothing. And last but not least, social. The vehicle to show the world your digital and physical synergy. Once your physical and your digital world are playing harmoniously together, we got to show it to the world. Social media only matters if the digital and physical live in harmony. If they don't, social media doesn't matter. Social media should be used to engage, attract, and market. Social media is a funnel to your website. People shouldn't live on your social media. If there's nowhere to send them to or there's no reason to engage them. If you're not sending them to a place or calling them to do a thing, then you're wasting your time with social media. Effective social is diverse in its intention. The content type should be consistent, but the intention should be diverse. What does this mean? It means that if you are always bombarding people with selling things, they're going to start to disengage with your content. The goal is to sell things, but we need to be diverse in the type of content that we're posting. We need to post things that are useful. We need to post things that are informative. We need to post things that are just entertaining, like I mentioned those 5 things before. And this will keep people engaged, and then we can also infuse things to sell. But if you're constantly doing it, then people will just learn to disregard, because people don't like just being sold to. People like being interacted with. People like being informed or engaged. And I think you have the updated slide, Dave. I don't have the updated slide on here, but
That was the last one on this end.
cool. Well, that ends the talk then for this one. Let's do a little recap real quick, and then we'll go to some questions if you guys have any. We talked about today the finding your edge, the importance of identifying your personal skill set, what's giving you the advantage over others in your field. And then we talked about the law of attraction, having the right mindset from your foundation and from your why. That's going to attract the right people to be a part of your ecosystem. It's going to attract the right business opportunities. You got to have the right mindset for that. And then we talked about the archetype, identifying your brand's archetype. For Neo4k, our archetype is the magician. Identify what yours is, and so next week we're going to go over carving the right business model and a plan to sustain. So it's really important that we know exactly what your archetype is. And then we talked about how these play together: the digital, the physical, and the social playing field. How the importance is if you don't have the digital, doesn't matter if you don't have the physical, and vice versa, and the social doesn't matter if those aren't working together. I put a couple of book recommendations on here, but I don't think I exported the PDF, but that will be on there. No, that's from last week. Oh, that's okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, where did we go to look at last week's session?
So after this week, I'm gonna list on the Neo4k website under the branding with meaning. There's gonna be a page under our about section. So all the classes will be archived there. But then every single video that we have on the Neo4k YouTube channel is gonna have all of the slides as well.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So, dude.
How do we identify our archetypes?
So on this PDF, I listed all the 12 different kinds that are available, and there's also a book that I listed that you can read that helps you identify what they are. But in this PDF document, there's going to be a list of what they are, and that will help you identify them. Because there's also some worksheets, and I think I'll link some worksheets in the YouTube channel description. So that will also help you identify what they are. I think that the best way is if you broke down everything we talked about last week, you should be able to think and compare. If you look at the different types of archetypes, their names and their messaging associated with them, it will help you refine it. So like if you're a music producer and you want to make dubstep music for play in front of big crowds, then you're not going to be a hopeful caregiver. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you can kind of look, there's going to be about 2 or 3. You're either going to be the hero or you're going to be the magician or something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gets narrowed down pretty easy when you think about how is this going to relate with the world.
Alright, and then where do I find that PDF?
That's going to be on the YouTube channel. Every single video, we're going to have the PDF with the talk. Hopefully. Is there any questions online?
That's what I'm looking for right now.
He says from Blood Clots, he asks, as I develop my brand further, what are your thoughts on the importance of things like a congruent story versus a consistent aesthetic with no continuous story behind it?
Having a congruent story versus having a consistent aesthetic. This is what we talked about last week. The aesthetic actually doesn't matter at all if you don't have a congruent story or a meaning or a why, because people can see. The thing is it's going to attract people the visuals are going to attract people, but they're not going to stay. They're not going to connect with your brand if they don't have a reason to. It's really, really easy in 2023 for people to make things look really good, but it's really, really difficult to maintain relationship with people in 2023. And the reason why we have a story and a meaning and a why is because we want people to connect with our brand. We want people to resonate with our brand, and we want people to go out in the world and be proud of our brand. We can't do that just based off of looks. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I've been tasked recently, I'm in 2 metal bands, and for both bands, I'm going to start the process of constructing some merchandise up to this date. So I wanted to find out if you have any recommendations on software, specifically. I know that Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator are prominent within the industry. Do you have any recommendations on software?
Yeah, I got tons of recommendations, but I would ask you why do you want to identify what software is used? Are you going to be do you want to do the design yourself?
Yeah, I'd be looking to do the design myself over time, or at least be able to draft up, stuff so I can send it to a design team. I've kind of done some drawing in the past and work with graphic designers, but it's not really as much my area. I'm more of a musician.
Yeah. So that's. I'm glad you said that. I think it would be. Of course, I'll share with you. I mean, I do everything in Photoshop and Illustrator, and we use some 3D programs. But I think that if you want to get something done to the best of its ability, then you should reach out to people that can help you do that a lot faster, because the time and energy you're going to spend to design your band's t-shirts, you can go connect with somebody that's a fan of your music, and they're going to help you make those shirts. They're probably going to look fantastic, I would suggest doing that, asking people for help, asking people to help you out with the design. If you're able to share your vision and you're able to share the ideas that you have, I think it will happen a lot better. I mean, otherwise, dude, like learning, I mean, that's awesome. I think that's great that you want to learn software and be proactive and get it done yourself. We kind of have to do that in 2023. We have to take on a bunch of roles. But I mean, dude, you should at least reach out and ask for help if you can. It'll help expedite the process, so that way you can focus on the one thing that's important for you. I'm assuming it's making music, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah. We talked about this last week. It was the one thing. What is the one thing that we do where if we do this one thing, then a lot of the other things will fall into place. But if we start veering off and doing the other things, then that one thing gets neglected. So what you don't want to do is get caught up thinking that you're going to design shirts or focus your energy and time on designing shirts for your band, and then you end up you're not making music for your project. Ultimately, man, if you make a hit song or your band's rocking out and stuff, it's going to naturally attract people that want to make stuff and help you out with that project. Cool. But yeah, Photoshop, Illustrator, if you want to do that stuff. I mean, honestly, dude, like if you want to go a free route, there's a bajillion free programs you can use, like Pixma, and if you want to go the iPad route, Procreate is like the sickest app for iPad.
Who's a tattoo artist that recommended Procreate.
Procreate is the best, dude. But then if you want to go a little bit high end, you can go to like Affinity Designer.
Okay.
They're all like $20.
Cool. Good to know. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, man.
What do you think about MailChimp?
MailChimp's cool. I use MailChimp, but I'm switching to Klaviyo.
Okay. Yeah, I just set up an account, so I'm about to start that whole.
MailChimp's cool. Yeah, MailChimp's cool. You can send a bunch of stuff for free.
What do you think about these AI programs now, like CPT, like the ones that are actually like helping manage businesses and?
That's cool. I think we can talk about that at a later class.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's like a super deep. We can get deep on AI stuff.
I was looking into some of it today, so.
Yeah, AI stuff is super, super wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, MailChimp for marketing and stuff like that. Klaviyo is better in my opinion,
Klaviyo
but
is-
I'm so used to using MailChimp, I'm just sticking with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
It's Klaviyo, Klaviyo. What's up, dude?
I remember last week you had mentioned that you have like more than a couple like kind of different ventures that you're tied to like outside of Neophoric, and then also tonight you mentioned like you guys only have one website. There's like no harm in having like kind of two different ones. Where do you think like you kind of get to the point, or where have you gotten to the point where you felt like there's a need to have like two separate things? I know even for this, you have like a separate Instagram and stuff for the weekly like open deck events that's separate from the official Neophoric Instagram. Where do you feel like you get to that point where you want to have two separate avenues to kind of, I don't know, post things, or just
When there's two different revenue streams. So if you're charging money for two different things, then you should split it up.
okay.
But right now, the weeklies that we're doing are free, and that's to create culture around the brand of Neophoric. That's to attract our tribe. And everything else that we do is all to create an experience for people. So when they're wearing our clothing, they can connect. They have a connection with the brand instead of just being sold to or advertised to. We can create an experience for people, and so that's why we're going to keep everything under one house and send them to the Neophoric website. Yeah, dude, I think that if these are two different revenue streams, it should be split up. and that's when you should have 2 different websites.
Gotcha. 'Cause yeah, I know that's even with a lot of DJs. Sometimes they'll make a side alias to release like separate music or something, just because they feel like it doesn't mesh. But I've also seen some artists that kept everything under the same label and like were able to navigate that and just diversify themselves and stuff. Kind of curious where like I don't know. It seems to work out pretty well on both ends for people.
Totally. Yeah, it's different. I mean, dude, if you're a drum and bass artist and you want to make house music, you're gonna have to build a new community, you know, or build a new audience. But I mean, I guess it can work if you're just doing like subgenres. You can stay pretty close.
What sites would you recommend to like build your own website, or which ones did you use?
We built we use Shopify and that's the back end of our website. In 2023, if you know any platform that you pay that's self-hosted, they're gonna have a bunch of templates right out of the box. So I mean, are you asking for an e-commerce site or just your website in general?
Like website in general. Like your Neofork website.
Yeah. So when you go to neofork.com, what you're seeing is a Shopify page. So the whole website is built on Shopify. The reason why I pay Shopify is because they handle everything for us. We don't have to worry about hosting. I think that's a thing of the past. I think we can just go to one-stop shop providers now and just pay them a monthly fee and they take care of everything. The most important thing in a website is that it loads super, super fast. People lose attention like instantly. They usually have like a bajillion tabs open. So if they go to your website and it takes it lags a little bit, they're gonna disconnect and they're not gonna go back to your site. So I think paying a monthly fee to a big box service like Squarespace or Shopify or something like that. There's a bajillion, dude. Paying something like that will just solve the problem of you having to have secure authentication tickets, for you having to worry about content delivery networks. They usually can connect with all of your apps and social media right out of the gate. Tracking everything is super important. So if you build your own website, it's gonna be a nightmare. But if you can just go to these people where you just buy it, pay them a monthly fee, plug everything in, you'll be up and running like that same night.
Got a couple online questions. D Jedi asks, what was the main brand or theme that inspired Neo4?
What was the what?
What was the main brand or theme that inspired Neo4?
Well, the theme is technology and futurism. Originally, we started our first clothing brand. It was called Damascus, and Damascus revolved around similar themes. It was a little bit more focused on spirit science and philosophy, and Neophoric is more focused on pop culture, futurism, and technology. It was just kind of a slow building up there, but if you want to know the influence definitely came from rave culture, psychedelic stuff, futurism, and pop culture.
We got one more from Nasty asking, is there any particular order to read the books that you recommended?
No, dude, there isn't. I have 2 book recommendations for this week as well. One's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson, and then the next is The History of the Archetype. And those will be listed in the YouTube video. A lot of the books you can read them, it doesn't matter. I think the last week we had The One Thing, Identifying Your One Thing, The Obstacle is the Way, Turning Pro, and Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. You can read any of those books in any order, and it doesn't matter. If you want something that's short and simple and it's just going to really just kick your butt right out of the gate, just read Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. You're just going to feel inspired at every page you read that. If you want to learn how to overcome problems that you're facing in your business, you want to develop a stoic mindset, then I would just read The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday right now. If you have a problem with pushing your work out to the world, if you're afraid of judgment and that's preventing you from pushing things out because you think it's not perfect or it's not good enough, I would suggest reading Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. It all comes down to how you're feeling. If you feel that you can't stay focused, you feel like you're multitasking too much, or you're doing too many things but you don't see a lot of progress happening, then you should read The One Thing. So it all comes down to how you're feeling and what you need done. Cool.
We got one last question. Did you buy the domain separately, or was Shopify able to provide it?
No, so Shopify, you can buy domains now, but when we set up Neo4 3 years ago, we bought our domains through, well, we have a bunch of domains, but mostly I bought them through Google domains, but you can buy through Google domains, GoDaddy. There's also a bajillion things. You can buy them through Shopify now. It doesn't really matter. I would suggest keeping everything to as close as possible, so you don't have to try and connect everything yourself, because that can get tricky. Try and just buy everything through Shopify if you can. If you know you're going to be using the Shopify platform. Otherwise, just use Google. It doesn't matter. Everybody uses Google Apps for everything. Any more questions? Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. You're so inspiring, Nate.
You made it, bro.
I know I had to run from that fraternity, so all over the place.
I'm glad you came down, bro.